Welcome, welcome, welcome. I keep having setbacks. It is so frustrating. What do I do? This is this week's question, and it is something that I would wager happens to everyone on this journey, because healing fatigue is not a straight line. We live in a society that thinks that it's about getting from point A to point B, and that the fastest way is a straight line between those two. But life rarely works that way, right? Before I go on, I apologize. I'm still having symptoms from a flu that I've had for over a week. That's why I didn't have a Q&A last week. So you could say that I am in the midst of a setback. And first of all, I just want to honor that experience, that it is challenging to be in that. It is challenging to feel that I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. I keep getting setbacks. I keep getting, there's a specific word, especially in chronic fatigue. I can't remember it right now. It doesn't really matter. But it's when you exert yourself too much and you have a backlash and you get even worse for like a longer period of time. Like sometimes it lasts for a whole week or maybe 2 weeks. And it is frustrating, especially living in the society that so permeates accomplishing things, that is so goal-oriented. And there's a risk with that, especially when you're in a healing journey, because we sometimes set up goals for ourselves with our healing journey, stating that this is the end goal of this, right? The end goal is being fully healthy, being able to work, being able to do sports, exercises, whatever it is that you want to do. And I invite you to reflect upon the journey from a different angle. What if it's not about the goal? What if it's about the journey towards the goal? Because I'm not saying we shouldn't have goals. I think goals are very important. They sort of keep the torch lit for us to keep moving forward. But if we're too focused on the goal, then we're not here in the present. We don't give ourselves the opportunity to enjoy where we're actually at. That's one part of it. The other part is that if we are so goal-focused all the time, when we reach that goal, we are very likely to set up a new goal and start reaching for that. So you see, that never ends. Or you might reach that goal and find out, oh, it's not at all what I thought it would be. It's not giving me the satisfaction that I was hoping for. I thought it was gonna make my whole life wonderful and everything was gonna be great. And that might not happen, right? Because that brings me to another piece in this discussion, and that is that thing that there's this belief that the end goal should be that everything is great. We're healthy all the time, we're happy all the time, we have lots of energy all the time, and so on. We have everything we want all the time. Now, that's not how life works. Life is made up of everything. And if everything was great all the time, there would be nothing to compare it with, right? And it's in the comparison sometimes that we can enjoy things. That's one part of that. Another part is that there's this definition of bliss that I really love. And it says that bliss is feeling something fully. And the reason why I like this is because when you feel something fully, ooh, hey Barbara, nice to see you. When you see something fully, or you feel something fully, it can be a blissful experience. So what do I mean by that? I wonder if you've ever had a really good cry. You know, the kind of cry where you feel that you can really let all your emotions out. And afterwards, there's that feeling of, release. That's the kind of bliss I'm talking about. And imagine having that experience with everything that happens in your life. Instead of being at war with the experiences, instead of being at war with, oof, I'm having this setback, I hate it, I don't want to be here. When we have that experience, it's a little bit like taking a balloon and trying to hold it underneath water, right? What's going to happen? Well, the balloon is going to push upwards even more than if you were to just hold it in your hands and be with it. So I'm going to let that sink in for a moment. Imagining our challenges as a balloon, that if we don't want them, if we try to get rid of them, it's like holding the balloon, trying to hold it underneath water and trying to push it further down underneath the water instead of just holding it in your hands and just noticing what happens. Those are two very different experiences. Something else that I wanted to say also about having this focus of needing to reach the goal. Something that becomes a problem with that and that contributes even more to the challenge of it all is this idea that if we don't reach the goal, we're a failure. So what often happens is that when we are so goal focused and we continuously think this is where I should be going, this is where I'm heading, and this is where I should be, on some level, often unconsciously, we're telling ourselves that we're a failure because we're not there. And what happens if we keep telling ourselves that we're a failure? That is not going to be very supportive of moving towards the goal, right? It's going to keep us stuck. So again, if you think about the challenge as that balloon and just holding it, knowing that it's not going to be there forever. There's this other quote from this, there was this Swedish man who no longer is with us. It's a beautiful man who lived as a monk for many years and then came back to Sweden because he felt called to share what he had learned from being a monk there. When he got married, he asked the jeweler to write in his ring, "This too shall pass." And the jeweler thought that was a very weird thing to write in your wedding ring. But the thing is, by having that thought with us, this too shall pass, can be very supportive because it helps us to not get stuck in what's going on, right? Because if we're experiencing something challenging and we think, this too shall pass, we know that it's not always going to be like this. And the same thing when we're experiencing something pleasurable, something that we want. If we think this too shall pass, then we might give ourselves permission to fully be in that moment. So I want to leave you with an exercise that you can do if you are struggling with this. Because it's very easy to be problem focused, to focus on the setbacks, because that's how our brain is wired, right? Our brain is wired to keep us alive first and foremost, and it will look for dangers that might be hurtful for us, that might kill us. The table-toothed tiger. And sometimes these setbacks might be the internal experience of these saber-toothed tigers. So that's why the mind will track that. So the practice is to start tracking your gains and start writing them down. Keep a journal. Maybe you get a special book or a special piece of paper or something where you write down your gains. And they don't have to be big things. It could be like, today I walked around the block. Great! That's a gain. Today I had the energy to have a 5-minute conversation with my friend. Brilliant. Write that down. Today I was able to sit in the sun and really enjoy the sun on my skin. Brilliant. Write that down. And what this will do is it will, one, support your mind in starting to focus on the gains, because they are there. They are there, I promise. That's one thing. And the other thing is, when you start making this list of the gains, it does something to you. Seeing that, okay, there's more. 1, 2, 3, 4. You start seeing this long list of all the gains. And remember, we're not here to judge the magnitude of the gain, right? It's not about being able to run a marathon or anything. It's just seeing them there and feeling, yes, that is part of my life too. So I hope this is helpful for you, and that you enjoy starting to track your gains, because they are there. Sending you so much love, and wishing you well on tracking your gains.